Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again. Welcome in hour number 3, 4 o'clock hour. I don't know about everybody else, but you can't stop smiling every time you talk about the Green Bay Packers. Poor Charlie on the other side of the glass, wearing his Bears stuff, getting ready to watch his team play game 1 tonight. Can I ask you a question? Because I really am interested to know this.
Fire away. What do you got?
Friday, I leave here. Actually, no, I left Rally House. That's right. I left Rally House from the remote. And then I was driving to go get my kid. And then off to see the doctors and so forth. And I had the score on in Chicago, our sister station. And they were talking about the Ty Dunn piece on Go Long TD, 3-part piece on the Bears and the dysfunction, the chaos of whatever is going on over there in Chicago. And they're talking, and by the way, Ty Dunn, I believe it's going to be on the Mason Crosby show on Wednesday, I believe Tommy said. But talking about Caleb Williams, like, I don't know if he's dyslexic or learning disability and all of these issues going on, and them trying to work around last year and try and figure out how to get on the same page. And apparently they didn't. And now Ben Johnson's having to deal with it, and players and sources throwing Caleb under the bus from last year. Like, it was, I'm not going to say it was a hit piece, but my God, if I was a Bears fan after reading that, I'd be depressed thinking about what I got myself into here with Caleb Williams. And now tonight is game 1 for him against a guy that, you know, is starting for the first time in J.J. McCarthy after being out all last year for the Vikings. I have no idea what to expect tonight in this game.
I just want to see what happens on the field. Like, I read that whole thing by Ty Dunn. There's going to be 2 more parts to it coming up here.
There's 5 parts?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's more coming up here about it. Like, I don't know. I just want to see what happens on the football field. This is a completely new coaching staff. Not only did Caleb Williams not blend with the coaching staff last season, but nobody on that offense blended with the coaching staff that last season. Shane Waldron was really just kind of an abysmal hire at the offensive coordinator position and just did not work out for that team. Nobody was believing in Matt Eberflus at all. The most entertaining thing they could say about him in the Hard Knocks before the season was that he got a new haircut, which, like, that's just crazy that that's the best thing you can get from a coach on that show where you're deep diving into the behind the scenes of a football team. And it was that he had got a new haircut. So, like,
about Eberflus?
Yes.
What do you mean? You got to meet his family, his kids. They were at his house. You got all that.
I didn't get any football stuff is my point. I didn't see anything of him being a good football coach.
That's not true either. See, good thing when you and I watch Hard Knocks together and we went over everyone last year. You had Caleb Williams in his office going over the offense and going over plays together after games and practices.
After the first week of the preseason. And then we've come to find out that nobody sat down with him at all, basically, for the rest of the regular season.
This is I'm telling you right now, and we're going to get to the Packers. I'm going to tell you my concern that I would have if I was a Bears fan at this point. I'm not saying that this has never happened in the National Football League, as far as somebody with a learning disability playing quarterback in the National Football League. But if it has, I don't believe it's ever been made public. What I want to see is, okay, this thing came out on Friday, it blew up. Now, how much is it going to continue to blow up if he doesn't play well tonight? And then Ben Johnson, these guys are going to be given the free pass and out of like, hey, man, look, what more do you want these guys to do? They're going to have to go get somebody else. That's going to stink for Caleb Johnson or Caleb Williams. If he plays well, then you're talking about overcoming whatever he's dealing with and still being successful. It's going to be a great role model story. It's going to be a great everything. I was hoping that some other quarterbacks in the last 30 or 40 years, after seeing or hearing about this, raised their hand and said, somebody come interview me. I had the same issue and I started 12 years in the NFL and I was able to overcome it, right? I was hoping somebody was going to raise their hand and say, hey, man, I've been through this. Caleb can play well and still be good. And if that happened, maybe it did, I haven't seen it. Have you seen any NFL quarterback?
Personally, I just looked it up just to see what would come up. Apparently, Zach Wilson deals with dyslexia as well, which is not a good example. Not somebody you really want to compare
a good
to.
Example.
But just kind of looking through it. I mean, all this stuff is about Caleb Williams right now, just because it's on
that's what it is.
Page.
Listen, I'm not a Bears fan, y'all. I don't like the Bears. I will never root for the Bears. But there is a part of me now that kind of hopes he does well. I does, because there's a lot of people that deal with what he's going through, man. And if he can be successful doing what he does, it's just that much better for everybody else involved that has to deal with this crap. There are a lot of successful people in this country that deal with what he's dealing with in other areas of life, right? Making a lot of money, successful business people and so forth. But we don't have one that's a quarterback that we know of that anybody's willing to come out and talk about to this point. So if he can be successful, I think it'd be a pretty cool story. That's all I'm saying. Because if he stinks and he's not good this year again, he's done. There's no chance they are rolling with him in year 3 without drafting a quarterback next year.
Yeah,
they're going to
draft somebody, at least in the second or third round, if that's the case. I mean, you don't give Tyson Bagent that contract that you give him unless you're planning on at some point here potentially not having Caleb Williams. That's kind of what it comes down to. And I'm with you. I think it'd be a cool story. I'm not freaking out over anything yet until I see what happens on the field this season. Not even just one game, because it's a new coaching staff. You got a couple new pieces in that offensive line. They're going to have to gel together. But they looked pretty good in that last preseason game, man. I think this is going to be something that could be fun to watch tonight.
That's not dealing with this Vikings defense.
No, this is, again, the Vikings were one of the best teams in the NFL last year. This is not going to be an easy game. Again, I'm going to keep saying it, though. 28-13 Bears.
15 points?
15 points.
I mean, J.J. McCarthy had a horrible night.
Which is kind of what I'm counting on, yeah.
Because if J.J. McCarthy plays well, I don't know if y'all win.
Shouldn't be a overreaction moment for J.J. McCarthy either, people. He may have a bad game tonight.
Yes,
that'll be okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's his first start.
It'll be okay, too, with that.
Yes, he very well could have a bad game, and that doesn't mean his career is going to be horrible if he doesn't play well. Now, if J.J. McCarthy throws for 3 touchdowns, no picks, 315, and Caleb Williams throws for $150 with 2 interceptions, then the world's going to end in Chicago. People are going to go crazy that they made that selection. But we'll see what happens going forward. Enough talking about them. Let's talk about the Pack.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan with Steve Sparky Fifer.
Continue to talk about the Green Bay Packers this hour. Things we missed coming up at 4:40. We'll divert maybe a little bit away from the Packers at 4:40. Giannis had a game over the weekend that we got to talk about with Greece. Got to talk about the Brewers coming up at 4:40 a little bit as well. And I really want Charlie to have that Peter Schrager, Ryan Clark piece of audio.
Just saved it in the folder.
Because that one there, man. And, of course, Ryan Clark comes out, apologizes like he does every other time he screws up. But we'll get to that coming up at 4:40 too from ESPN from Friday morning, I believe it was. All right. I told you we had some things I wanted to play on the Green and Gold update we hadn't got to yet. So number one, this is Micah Parsons talking about Penei Sewell, the starting tackle for the Detroit Lions.
A rivalry for the next 4 or 5 years. I'm not going to be able to get rid of him. He's a hell of a player. I told him, I said, you're my new rivalry now. Like, I don't got Lane no more. It's going to be you. I'm going to see you twice a year, so we might as well buckle up. It's going to be a long one. So
Lane Johnson is who he was talking about. And this, to me, I wanted to get Charlie's thoughts on. Did you have those rivalries as an offensive lineman back in the day where when you lined up against so-and-so, you knew there was going to be some pushing, there was going to be some shoving, it was going to be mano-a-mano, and it was going to be a fight?
It was more like team-based, just because in high school and college, you're not really playing the same players every single year. Right. A lot of those, you're just 1 year, it's one good guy, and then he's gone the next year because he was a fifth-year senior at that point. I mean, you have those moments, again, with teams where it's just kind of a defensive line unit that you don't like. A coach usually doesn't like another coach, so your offensive line coach doesn't like the other team's defensive line coach, and then you start beefing over that. But not really like this, just because you don't have that same kind of resume against those certain guys.
Another comment here by Micah Parsons that's gotten a lot of love and a lot of talk from around southeastern Wisconsin talking about the Green Bay Packers was this on a specific package that the Packers are running. Now, this reminds me kind of the NASCAR package that the Packers used to have, a little bit different, but similar.
Yeah, Cheetah. Oh, it's gonna be, bro. It's gonna be so good. And I'm telling you, I think Vanessa's gonna have his best year yet this year. I'll make sure of it. That guy, he's a very selfless player. Like, he's very selfless. He's one of them guys that can go anywhere. He plays the run. He does everything. He's the high quality player that you just want to be around. So I'm gonna make sure that guy gets as many plays as possible. I believe in him, and I told him, I said, I think you can be like a Cameron Wake, you could be like a Julius Peppers. You're a 4-5 guy, and it's time for you to show it. And we're gonna put it together. We're gonna keep working out together, keep labbing, and I'm excited to see how that turns out for him.
All right, so there is Micah talking about how Lucas Van Ness is gonna take that next step. Lucas Van Ness is gonna have that year. When I was driving into the Green Bay football postgame show last night, if you missed it, go back, listen to it. Odyssey app, AUDACY. Go back and watch it on YouTube as well. Search The Fan Milwaukee. All of our local shows are streamed live with The Fan Milwaukee on YouTube. Watch our shorts, watch our videos, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. I realized that one aspect that we really didn't talk about last week, at least on this show, maybe they talked about it on Mason's show and I missed it, or Pack a Day Radio with Andy Herman, was his ability to help the other defensive linemen with his history against certain offensive linemen of, dude, I do this and I set this dude up like that and I beat him every time, right? You do this combination over 2 or 3 plays, he's a sucker for it, falls for it every time. You'll get home. Just try it and tell me if it works. He can tell you that to Rashawn Gary. He can do that to Van Ness. He can teach Van Ness a move or two, set up combinations of what you can do to get past an offensive lineman. Not saying the defensive line coach can't do that or whatever. I think it's a little bit different when you have a future Hall of Famer and Micah Parsons talking in the room and talking on the sidelines when somebody is struggling against a tackle. Man, I've beat that guy 100 times. I'll tell you exactly how you get past him, right? That type of stuff makes everybody else better because of the intel he's able to provide. He only been in the league 4 years. It's not like he's been in the league 10 years, but he's got a lot of intel built up at this point.
Definitely. And I think having a guy like Micah Parsons, really having kind of any veteran that's been around the league for 4+ seasons is usually a benefit to have on your team, especially if he started for those 4 years that he's been in the league at least. And I think having that kind of just knowledge of what a player and his tendencies might be is really helpful. The only downside I get from that is that Micah Parsons is a future Hall of Famer, and athletically, he is so gifted to the point where he may tell you to try something that you just physically cannot do. And I know these other guys are NFL players as well and are great athletes, right, but he is just a man amongst boys sometimes out there. And the way that he plays is, yeah, you can tell somebody to try an inside move on Penei Sewell, but Penei Sewell's not preparing for you the same way they are Micah Parsons. So he's not going to overset you because you're not Micah Parsons.
Good point.
So you try to go inside, and then now you're getting crushed by Penei Sewell, who's one of the best offensive tackles in the league. So you can try these types of things, and you can learn from that type of player. And it's for sure a value to have it. But I think that's really just coming from any kind of veteran player that's had playing experience, not just Micah Parsons.
The other thing that Parsons said after the game, which was good, which is, yeah, man, when we started, it was mano-a-mano. Then once they realized he couldn't stop me, then this chipping started, and they started doing different things. Rashawn Gary talked about it too. No problem, man. You want to chip me? He's going to get his thing going on the other side. You chip him, I'm going to get going. You want to deal with both of us? We got guys inside. They're going to get home. This has now become a real problem for opposing offenses, which is why I wanted Trey Hendrickson to begin with. I thought Micah Parsons was an absolute pipe dream, but you see how much of a difference it truly does make when he's out there. Now, the secondary is going to be something else to watch, right? Because, yes, we all talk about Xavier McKinney and how good he is and so forth, but I think people really got to forget at the end of the day about another dude that was playing his tail end off during the course of the year, and what ended up happening is he ended up getting hurt at the end, or after the first part of the season, and kind of took himself out of it. This dude's a stud too.
Parsons in on this play, which is a 3rd and 7. Pass intercepted. Jumping in front of St. Brown. There was pressure from Parsons, and Evan Williams has the theft.
And again, remember at the beginning of last year, Evan Williams was getting interceptions. Evan Williams was the man. Ty Dunn did a big piece on Evan Williams and Leroy Butler. Like, that was a whole aspect of this. Now he's healthy and he can stay back there and be that other guy. with Xavier McKinney. It should make their jobs easier on the backside.
100%. I mean, this is, again, in that safety room, some real talent. The problem is you kind of need that to trickle down into the cornerback room, which right now is not an issue because you're seeing a Micah Parsons have such an effect on the front seven and a Rashawn Gary that the Lions basically went into this game with the plan to not throw it deep because they didn't think they'd have the time.
Correct.
Like that's a last week, last second type of game plan that they walked in with. And you saw it just not work out because of how great and how athletic that front seven really is. The cornerbacks didn't really have to do anything. If you go up against an offensive line that has a little bit more time to plan for what you're going to do, an offensive line that's as talented as the Lions, then there may be some more issues where you see some guys in that defensive back room get exposed, but you have a bunch of great safeties, if healthy, that can help back them up a little bit.
Correct. And then you talk about the guys on the interior. This dude here, he was put together a string of games last year where we thought, oh boy, he's going to have a big year. And then, of course, he got hurt.
4th and 2. They throw him down. That's Wyatt. How about those last 2 defensive series by the Packers?
I'm telling you, folks, it's going to be scary. And I would assume, highlights courtesy of CBS 58, I would assume if I'm a Bears fan, I'm watching that, I don't feel too good. If I'm a Vikings fan and I'm watching that game yesterday, I don't feel too good about that either. And then you're going to have to watch that game tonight. And whoever loses is going to be looking like the team that might be at the bottom of this division after week 1. And that's how the fan base is going to be feeling. Does not mean it's going to end that way, but that's how depressed the fan base is probably going to be, Charlie.
Probably, but also, I mean, that Lions offense just looked pretty abysmal yesterday. And they may be the bottom of the barrel if the Bears and Vikings have a shootout tonight for some reason, and they're battling it out. It comes down to the last couple drives in that game. It could be something completely different. That's how wide open this NFC North is this year. But I think yesterday the Packers proved that they are a step ahead of those other teams.
Yeah, I think right now they're the best team in the division. And we'll see how this plays out. Washington on Thursday night, Green Bay football post-game show. Tommy Wirtz and myself immediately following that. Speaking of Tommy Wirtz, leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brewer season is still going on, by the way. It's true. 6 o'clock tonight with that one as the Brewers get ready to travel to Texas to take on the Rangers. So that will be underway at 6. You'll hear from Pat Murphy, Andrew Wagner. You'll hear from Austin Herdenia from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Get ready for the game tonight. Again, first pitch just after 7 o'clock on that one. So again, make sure to keep it tuned in here. 1 hour or sometimes even more than 1 hour. Sometimes it's 90-minute pregame shows before every Brewers game all season long here on The Fan. Coming up on the other side, how much did your perspective change of the Packers versus the rest of the NFL after week 1? We've been talking about the division, but you've seen highlights of all the other games. Maybe you were at the Potawatomi Sportsbook and you watched a bunch of the games at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Now you probably have some different perspectives on some of these other teams and how it matches up against the Green Bay Packers. And don't forget about Potawatomi Sportsbook. They got you for Brewers games, home games. That's right. To and from the games using the Potawatomi Sportsbook shuttles. All you have to do in order to get on is either make a purchase of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Maybe you have yourself a beer, 48 beers on tap, homemade desserts and pastries. They got all kinds of different food for lunch and dinner, all day brunch on top of that. So you make a purchase there, or you make a same day wager and you are good to go to get on that shuttle. They leave 1 hour before the game. They come back all the way up to 1 hour after the game. There's several shuttles. All you have to do to find out more, go to potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. It is the new fun way to go to and from Brewers games. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
But all in all, I was really happy with our performance. I thought the fans that showed up brought great energy, and the fans that sold their tickets to all those Lions fans got to be better.
I love it. I don't care. Y'all can call them petty. You all can be like, focus on the field. Don't worry about the fans in the stands. Y'all can say whatever you want about Matt LaFleur. I don't care. I love it. I'd do the same damn thing if I was him. You saw blue all over that stadium. And when I was driving home after postgame last night, I turned on the ticket because I knew they would be still taking calls after the Lions lost. And they had somebody there at Lambeau that was reporting for the ticket in Detroit. And she was like, she thought 5,000 to 6,000 Lions fans is what she estimated were in the stadium.
That's a pretty big chunk. I mean, even for like 43,000 people, how many ever were in the stadium at that point? That's a pretty big chunk.
Well, in that stadium, it's like 80,000.
Okay, so even still, like 5,000 people is not nothing.
Oh, you could see it on the overhead shot, all the blue. And I saw the guys that were covering the game tweeting about it before the game, but you really didn't get the shot until the game got going. And then you saw the overhead, and you're like, oh, man, there is quite a bit of blue in that stadium.
Didn't seem to matter all that much.
No, didn't matter at all. No, but still, you just don't want to deal with that crap. We deal with that crap with Cub fans, at American Family Field. I want to deal with Lions fans now, too.
Thunder played that clip on Middays with Thunder here on The Fan from 11 to 2 for this week here. He was talking about that, and he said, this is kind of on the Packers. Why doesn't Matt LaFleur just walk across the hall to like the ticket people, everybody that's running this team, and make it so that you can sell the tickets through Packers.com to Packers fans? That's what he brought up, and basically just kind of find a way to help verify that it's Packers fans somehow that you're selling the tickets to.
How are you going to tell if somebody is a Packer fan? Anybody can get on a computer and say, oh, yeah, I'm a Packer fan. Okay, cool. Here are your tickets. And then he shows up wearing Lions. You're like, you can't. There's no way to justify or stop that. There's no way. I want to hear what he said. I'm going to come in here in a break tomorrow, and I'm going to ask the man how exactly he plans on doing that. Because if it was that easy, the Brewers could have done that to Cub fans for the last 10, 15 years. They haven't figured out a way to do it. They raised the prices for Chicago games. They raised the parking prices for Chicago games. They pretty much just said to hell with it. Y'all are coming. They're going to pay higher prices across the board, and we're going to make more money on it. That's what the Brewers did, because there's no way of stopping them.
No, and what I asked him also is that really a Packers problem, or like is it just an NFL problem where they just want the most eyes on any games at any given time?
Every sport wants the most eyes.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. They don't care who shows up for the other team. Okay, injury report out for the Packers. Now, again, they had off today. LaFleur didn't talk today. Nobody talked today. They're all talking tomorrow. Not Love. Love talks on Wednesday, I believe. But here is what they put. Packers didn't participate on Monday, but these are the reports, are an estimation of they would have practiced. Guys that we care about, Zach Tom, they're listing him with an oblique injury. That's not good. It's not good for Thursday.
No, not for Thursday night.
An oblique injury, 4 days. That's going to be a pretty damn quick turnaround on oblique. Oblique injury normally lasts weeks. Normally it's not 4 days.
No, it's not 4 days, and it's not good for Thursday night, but that's a better sign for the rest of the season.
And again, you don't need him against Cleveland.
Yeah, and you can play through an oblique injury, especially at the end of it, too. A lot of people try that, at least, and I think it'd be worthwhile for him to try at that point.
So you got him with an oblique injury. The other guy of concern was Aaron Banks, who has an ankle/groin injury, also listed as did not participate. Man, to be down 2 offensive linemen to Washington is not exactly the most ideal thing in the world against Washington going into this game.
Yeah, but Washington's pass rush in front 7 isn't exactly the most formidable. I think that's actually probably one of the better teams out of the next 3 games that you have. That would be to miss some of your offensive linemen.
Cleveland, Myles Garrett.
You don't want to mess with Myles Garrett.
Fine.
Dallas looked a lot better than we thought they would. Kenny Clark revenge game type of thing. Like maybe something's there with that.
Clark revenge game. Stop.
If he gets like 2 sacks in that game, that's going to be pretty funny.
Yeah, he could. I mean, yeah, it's very possible. Other did not participate, according to this. Brenton Cox, groin injury. Did not participate. Remember, he went out in that game as well. Bo Melton, shoulder injury, did not participate. Jaden Reed back, not participating with that foot, but I would assume, probably they'll limit the practice time maybe this week, and he'll be all right by Thursday. That's the other thing, is how many of these guys don't practice this week just to ensure that they're healthy as good as they can be? Because Jaden Reed, I guarantee you, wasn't 100% probably coming into this game, but he played. So if you can rest him and let him just play on Thursday and feel like he's fine, you do that, because then you get the extra days off before you play Cleveland.
Do you think you can just rest him and let him play on Thursday?
Yeah.
Do you think that with Jaden Reed,
Yep.
like you're have that much confidence in Jaden Reed?
He didn't play for a month. He just came out there and scored a touchdown.
But he was also limited for periods in there, and he was working out and he was doing all these things. Just having him rest for 4 days may not be the best decision.
I'm not worried about it. I think he'd be fine.
All right.
But those are the guys with did not participate. So there's a handful of limited participation and full participation as well. So we'll see where that goes. Over here in Washington, they had a walkthrough today, but not a full practice. And they're relatively healthy. Their punter did not participate with a back issue. Everybody else practiced in one way or another. So it appears Washington comes in relatively healthy to this game on Thursday. All right. So my question is this: how much did your perspective change of the Packers versus the rest of the NFL after week 1? Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app. If you watched Philadelphia and Dallas, Philadelphia did not seem scary. They just didn't. Jalen Hurts carved them up, Dallas, for sure. Defensively, there's a lot to be improved defensively by the Philadelphia Eagles before they are a finished product, I think, at the end of the season. So they didn't have a dominant performance. I think you could argue that the Packers probably were the best looking team in the NFC through coming into tonight's game between the Bears and the Vikings so far in week 1. I think they're the best looking team out there in the NFC.
I don't know if that's anything you have to argue, because that's just kind of the truth. Based on what we saw, they were the most polished team in the NFC. And honestly, watching just the whole slate of games, they might have been the most polished team in the NFL, if we're being honest.
We're talking all 3 phases,
Mm-hmm.
playing well in all 3 phases. They were the best team in the National Football League this week because Buffalo was getting ran over by Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson was doing what Lamar Jackson wanted to do. Henry fumbles the ball late in that game. Buffalo gets back into it because of it. Buffalo's offense looks good, but their defense sucked. Same with Baltimore. So you don't get there. Cincinnati had all it could do to not lose the game to Cleveland. They were trying to let Cleveland win that game with Joe Flacco, and Cleveland was being Cleveland and couldn't do it. I mean, that last interception, the ball hit off of the receiver's hands, bounced off of his hands into the DB's hands, and was an interception.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That was Tillman. I mean, my God almighty, what are we doing? I mean, that was not Flacco's fault. He threw the ball, it hit both of his hands. It was low, but it hit both of his hands, bounced off in the DB's hands. Goodness. So the Cincinnati, who always gets off to slow starts, they get a week 1 win. Okay. Aaron Rodgers looked great. 4 touchdown passes, played really well. But again, if we're talking about the other side of the ball, that was a back and forth game too, as they were going back and forth in that game. So that defensive performance wasn't anything scary looking at that. I mean, who am I missing here? Kansas City? Kansas City lost.
Yeah, and didn't really look all that impressive in it as well. I don't know. Like, it just felt like that no other team.
Maybe the Chargers are the next best team.
Maybe. But, like, again, that's a maybe, I guess. Just
you know what I'm forgetting? The Colts.
The Colts are the best team in football.
Might
There you go,
be.
Sparky.
Might be. Dude, they pitched. They pretty much shut out the Dolphins for the most part, right?
Yeah.
The offense scored every time they had the ball. No joke. They scored every time they had the ball, folks.
Yeah, it was kind of insane how bad the Dolphins defense was. Like, that wasn't the Colts. Like, that was the Dolphins just being absolutely atrocious.
You can't even give them credit, huh?
No,
you just can't even.
You couldn't give them credit earlier.
No, because Daniel Jones isn't that good. There's no way that's gonna hold up. No, absolutely not. I'm trying to figure out here. I have it saved as far as that Colts record with scoring the football. Colts scored on all 7 of their offensive possessions in the victory yesterday, becoming the first team since at least 1978 to score on every offensive possession of a game, man.
And they may never score a touchdown again, man.
Again, you're such a jerk. Why are you such a jerk?
Am I wrong?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. We'll wait and see on that. But, yeah, so that's another thing that I think you look at and you're like, Okay, so Colts, nobody's believing they're real. Maybe they're a playoff team, but nobody's believing they're real. So if you take them out and say that's a shooting star in the sky, then this Packers team appears to be, after week one, the best team in football. Now, this could change. Thursday night, Washington could throttle Green Bay, and then we're like, okay, well, the line's just really maybe not that good, and that wasn't really a true showing. But if the Packers come out here and beat Washington on Thursday night by, 10 or more and handle Washington and really look like they did against Detroit, then there is going to be a conversation of, okay, maybe this is the best team in football.
Definitely. I think that, again, we're sitting right here saying that they most likely are based on this last stretch of games for week one, and beating Washington, a team last season who went into the playoffs on that hot streak, looked like one of the best young teams in football, and just to kind of put them in their place would be a big deal for the Green Bay Packers, because they were kind of in the same boat, kind of opposite. They started out hotter than they probably were, and then slowed down the second half of the season. But the Packers, when compared to other young teams who have had this type of rise, Washington looks like a team that could take a step back. Houston last year took a step back really big.
They have not come back.
And they have not come back.
They still didn't look good.
The old LA Rams went out there and just showed them who's boss. And I think that when looking at the Packers, they're a team that, a lot like the Brewers, I have confidence in, despite them being young, despite them having their moments where it looks like they could take a step back. I don't ever fear that they're going to take a step back. It's only steps forward here.
I agree with you 100% on that. No question. I think it is only steps forward for this Packers team going forward. So we'll see how this looks like coming up on Thursday night. Green Bay football post-game show immediately following the game after every Packer game all season long. Make the switch over here to the Fan, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM. The Fan studios are powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Houston, other side of the glass. Things that we missed on today's show. You're going to get your Brewers talk. You'll get a little Giannis conversation.
Badgers?
Sure.
Yes.
Bring up Badgers for you. And Ryan Clark and Peter Schrager get into it on ESPN from Friday. That's all straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's here on the Fan. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. See Sparky Fifer here. Charlie using the other side of the glass. If you missed Jacob Westnor from Packers on SI, he joined us in the first hour talking about that Packers 27-13 victory against the Lions. Second hour, Jeff Jagosinski, former Packers assistant coach and Boston College head football coach, and now co-host of Locked On Packers. Make sure to check that out. He joined us at 3:20. You can go back, listen on your Odyssey app, AUDACY, or you can also go back, watch it on YouTube. Search The Fan Milwaukee. All of our local shows are streaming live. Subscribe, like, share. All highly, highly encouraged here with YouTube. Again, we just started up YouTube, it's about 2 months old, 2 months and a couple of weeks. I think it started at the end of June. Yeah. So
we're growing like crazy.
We are growing
1,400 subscribers right now.
Coming around little by little. Brick by brick, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Brick by brick. We're building this damn thing up again. The Brewers, they've already got a full house built. They're looking to add on a big deck, a wraparound deck onto their house and so forth here before the end of September when they head for the postseason. Right now, 3 games is the magic number for the Brewers to clinch postseason. Nobody really cares about that. 12 games, or 12, I should say, is the number to your magic number to clinch the NL Central. 13 is the magic number to clinch the number 1 seed. Those are the numbers that I think everybody cares about at this point. But what I care about is the Brewers. Yes, they are currently coming off of a sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates. 6 o'clock leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz today, getting ready for Brewers and Rangers. That's all fine and dandy. But to me, the story right now is, what will they do with Rhys Hoskins here in the next couple of days when they have to make a call? They have to make a decision on what to do with Rhys Hoskins because
Bowers pulls it down the line. That's going to get into the corner. In to score, Terang. Right behind him, Collins. And Bowers with a belly flop into second. It's a 2 RBI double. And the Brewers strike first.
Jake Bowers is starting to heat up. This dude has figured out his stroke.
You would think down the stretch. Here's Vaughn with a base hit to right. That's going to score Contreras. Bowers will be held at third. And the line keeps moving here. Andrew Vaughn with an RBI single. It's 3-0 Milwaukee.
Highlights courtesy of FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin. Brian Anderson on both those calls from over the weekend. Folks, I don't know what they're going to do, but I sure the hell am intrigued by it. Are you going to roll with 3 third basemen? Is Isaac Collins going to third and Siegler is getting moved down? Remember, I hinted at that. I was talking to Tommy Wirtz. Tommy said they had Collins out there taking some ground balls at third base. You're welcome. Thanks for listening to Wisconsin Sports Daily.
That was last week, too.
Yeah, we brought it up last week. I'm telling you, Isaac Collins might be your starting third baseman next year. I don't know if he's going to be your starting third baseman this year. I don't know if you can learn that position that quickly to be out there and be trusted in a playoff game to play third base. But anything is better than Anthony Siegler at this point. Anything. So if Collins is going to be that third baseman, then you don't have to cut Jake Bowers. You don't have to option Andrew Vaughn back down to AAA, which would be gut-wrenching if they had to do that. Vaughn's confidence, you would think, is sky high based on how he's played since he got here. Then to get optioned down for Rhys Hoskins. The other thing that nobody's talking about is what happens if they just tell Rhys we're good, see ya? What happens if they went that way? Nobody's brought up that option. Everybody's under the assumption of, well, of course Rhys Hoskins is coming back. And maybe he is. But I'm saying that has to be a conversation piece at this point, doesn't it? Because he wasn't playing well prior to him getting hurt.
I think it has to be. But also, I don't like this may just be a superstitious fan, but I also feel like baseball people are just superstitious in general. What happens if you cut Rhys Hoskins? He says, okay, I'll go back to Philadelphia. And you see Philadelphia in the playoffs.
Could
and
see
Rhys
Chicago,
Hoskins
go
is the
to
guy.
Chicago too.
Same thing. Like he just feels like that type of guy that's going to hurt you if you let him go.
Definitely.
And a playoff team is going to pick him up almost immediately and use that to their advantage, that he could be a playoff clutch time performer.
No doubt.
Jake Bowers doesn't have that same kind of pedigree, and I don't think people are going to look at Jake Bowers and say, you know what, I think he'll hurt the Brewers if we bring him back.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think they see that in a Jake Bowers.
Probably not.
No offense to Tommy Wirtz, but
yes,
it still kind of feels like you keep on the same path it's by Jake Bowers. I'm sorry, he was great against the Pirates, but also it's the Pirates. Let's be real here.
It is the Pirates. Yeah, that's fine. But the Brewers did what they were supposed to do, right? They swept the Pirates. I would have been happy with 2 out of 3. I didn't care if they lost one. Just don't lose a series to the crappy Pirates. Rangers can be a little bit more competitive. I'm not expecting them to sweep the Pirates or the Rangers here. But, man, can you imagine if they won 14 in a row here now going into the playoffs to end it?
That would just be insane. I don't know what anybody would do. I think the world would just end. That's just crazy.
Can you imagine they ran off another double-digit win streak here? Okay, we're done with the Phillies. We're done with the Blue Jays. Now, don't got anybody like them the rest of the way out on the schedule. We're just going to run this bad boy off here. We're going to run off another 12, 13, 14 games in a row, see what everybody has to do with that. That would be wild. I don't think it's going to happen, but either way. So that to me is what came out of this weekend is Bowers is putting pressure on the Brewers to do something here. Because I don't think that Murphy wants to cut Jake Bowers. I don't think they want to cut Jake Bowers. Jake Bowers has been a good soldier. Jake Bowers plays wherever they want him to play. Jake Bowers he himself has shown a clutch gene. Not that he's Rhys Hoskins clutch, but he's shown some clutch genes throughout the course of the year, right? So Bowers, he's forcing the issue by playing well. If he goes 0 for the weekend, then see ya. It's been real. But now he's starting to play well coming off injury. I don't know, man.
Tommy just called. He didn't want to go on air, but he just said that what do I know about playoff pedigree? Jake Bowers hit that home run last year. So he's obviously a stud. I still don't care. Bye, Jake Bowers. Sorry, Tommy.
Isn't he here?
No, he actually went home.
I asked him earlier. I was like, hey, dude, are you going home? No, I'm probably just going to stay here all day.
I think that was the plan initially, and then me and Mitch convinced him to go home since he had 4 hours this time in between the show and when he was here before.
Does he have like a video game system or anything?
I don't know. That's what I'd like to do in my free time.
I know you do, but I don't think I've ever heard him talk about playing video games.
I think he just kind of sits on his couch and just stares at a wall.
That's what he said he does.
Watches paint dry,
That's what he said
he just
does.
is recharging that way.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so Brewers playing well. 6 o'clock. Tommy Works will be back here in the building. Leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Get you ready for Brewers and Rangers. So that takes care of the Brewers. Why did you want to talk about the Badgers for?
Because they're awesome and Danny O'Neill's the future, right? You believe that, right?
You just want to be a sarcastic
no,
ass. That's
actually,
why you wanted to
the
talk
real
about
thing
the
I wanted to talk about is Lance Mason and the tight end position coming back to Wisconsin. That's something I'm actually really excited about. Me and Tommy had a conversation about this on Wisconsin Sports Weekend last year when we were doing that during the Badger season. And we were discussing this, that it felt like the tight end position has kind of been missing from Wisconsin football for what feels like 25 years now. And statistically, it was 25 years. This is something Lance Mason can bring back at least this season, or at least this style of offense that we can bring back with Luke Fickell. Hopefully that a tight end and having that type of safety net is going to be good for whatever transfer quarterbacks they bring in to be these starters, or even the young quarterbacks, because just the wide receiver rooms aren't going to be there. And I think you can find this type of tight end talent within Wisconsin more so than you can find a wide receiver talent in Wisconsin that isn't going to go to other schools. So I think this is something that, if this is what we're seeing is real, and I know it's Middle Tennessee, at the same time, this is really cool to see that kind of explode again a little bit.
It took them forever to pull away in that game.
Mm-hmm.
We were at halftime, and they were technically still in that game.
I thought they were going to lose that game.
I really thought
at
State
halftime,
was still in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, oh my goodness, you better not screw this one up before Alabama. So they're 2-0, which is wonderful. Happy the Badgers got 2 wins. I said 4 or 5 wins this year. So
I said 6, so they're on pace.
They're on pace for you, right? Alabama, that spread, I didn't look at the Potawatomi Sportsbook spread, but I think it's like 20, 21 and a half, something like that for that game in Tuscaloosa. Alabama has under a bunch of pressure. Kalen DeBoer is under a bunch of pressure, and Alabama's head coach. Do you know that if Wisconsin beats Alabama, he may get canned? It might be done that quickly.
Do you think
the Badgers go into Tuscaloosa and upset them coming off of no bowl game last year? Oh yeah, no. They are going to lose their mind.
If the Badgers go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, does Luke Fickell save his job? Like,
Luke
is that,
Fickell's not getting fired if they win 4 games.
you don't think so?
Absolutely not.
There's a lot of people that disagree with you on that.
They're wrong. They're wrong. I'm telling you, I'm almost 100% confident that there is no way Chris McIntosh is firing Luke Fickell, because Chris McIntosh is not an idiot. I've known Chris for a long time. He knows what the schedule is. He knows it's the toughest in college football. He knows what they've got currently and what's going on. Now, I'll say what I think is going to go on. They don't compete for a playoff spot in 26, then he's gone. There are no expectations, I don't think, up there of them doing anything. If they get 6 wins, they're going to throw a party.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go out drinking. They
I
get
said that was
6
going to be a
wins,
really good season for
they're
him.
going to go out drinking. I don't know. He could win 4 games. He's still going to have his job.
All right.
If y'all think differently, you're wrong. They've spent so much money and getting him and the coaching staff and all of this, and now they're throwing money at the NIL and doing everything else, trying to make this work. They want to make this work for Luke Fickell. So, no, it doesn't matter. They could get blown out by Alabama by 60. He's going to have a job on Monday. It's
but
not
that's
gonna
also
matter.
probably the expectation.
No.
If you think they're
now with this Alabama team, it's not.
Alabama's still,
this Alabama team, no.
they're still number 19 in the country right now.
For now.
All right.
For now.
I think Florida State was a lot better of a team than people were giving them credit for going into the season. I think winning that first game of the year, and yes, it was a drudging of Alabama for sure. At the same time, that was just kind of, again, people underrated that FSU team more so than I think they overrated the Alabama team.
I got one other thing I want to play here. This I have to play. This is Peter Schrager, who was at NFL Network, and Ryan Clark, former NFL DB cornerback, who we all know, on ESPN Friday morning. Here we go.
Wake up this morning. Are you feeling okay? You look at AJ Brown, which is this number 1 wide receiver who got 1 target all night, and then you got CeeDee Lamb. But that's the
when was the one target?
That's the target. But
though.
I'm saying
when was the one target?
I'm saying you could have it both ways.
4 seconds left in the game on 2nd and 11. It was the one target. He runs the out route.
You wake up this morning saying
got
AJ Brown had a better day than CeeDee Lamb.
But you know what you wake up saying though? AJ Brown's team is 1-0.
Of course,
right? Like that's what
I get it.
But the thing is this though, and we shouldn't do this on TV. And so I apologize if people think this is rude. That's the non-player.
Oh,
view.
Stop. That CeeDee Lamb is.
Let me tell you why. I'm not looking at fantasy football.
Ryan, I'm not. Don't belittle me like that. I could come in and say, as 3X players are saying one thing, and give an alternative perspective that maybe CeeDee Lamb did play well. And
Peter, what I need for you to do is not get mad and let me finish for one.
Okay, go on.
It wasn't about you. It was going to be about me.
Okay. This is what I have to say. I don't feel bad for Peter Schrager at all. You knew what you were walking into when you signed that deal. You took the money and said, thank you. And you went there. You know what they've got over there for personalities. You know exactly how that plays. Ryan Clark is somebody that's not going to shut his mouth. He's never shut his mouth. Didn't shut his mouth when he played. Not going to shut his mouth now. How many apologies has Ryan Clark had to make in the last year?
Hundreds. It feels like every other week he's making an apology.
He's making
about
a public
something.
apology about something. That one, he knew what he said was going to create flack. He apologized, still said it. Now, having said that, do you think he's the only former player who deals with people that are not players that believes what he just said? I'm willing to bet you 98% of former players that deal with idiots like me think the exact same thing he said. They may not say it, but they're all like, yeah, you tell him, Ryan. He didn't play. He don't know crap. I guarantee you, most of them all say that. He said it, and now he's the bad guy for it. But that's exactly it. And if Schrager thinks that they all don't think that about him, he's wrong. He's crazy. And he's friends with coaches, and he's friends with a lot of these other guys. But I'm telling y'all, that is how this works, man. You have to understand who you are and where you are on the pecking order when you are in doing what we do.
Yes, but also Ryan has to look at this situation and I think I have to look where I am right now. I'm at ESPN, which is for the fans. And I think Peter Schrager, being a fan of the game and being somebody who's into the game as much as he is, deserves to have a say on a station like ESPN. And I think that what he brings and I guess what that style brings, and having a reporter or having somebody that's just around the game is a different viewpoint, maybe a viewpoint that somebody at home has that isn't a former player either, or a question that somebody at home isn't a former player has also. And I think that Ryan Clark has to see this situation from that perspective too, and say, yes, I'm here to be the expert, but I also can't push away somebody like Peter Schrager, who's doing a service for other people that are non-players as well.
Trust me, no player thinks like that.
I'm not saying they do.
Great.
I'm saying they should
Sure.
in that situation. They should have at least the wherewithal to not say anything because Ryan Clark went out there and said something.
The bigger thing Ryan Clark has to realize is that dude is super connected with the coaches in the NFL right now. Super connected with a bunch of different guys in the league. So I'm not saying all the time it's his own opinion. I'm saying some of the time it might be other coaches' opinions that are coming through Peter Schrager's mouth that people are going to get upset about. What you don't have to get upset about is being a Packers fan. Do you realize every game counts up? It does. So don't miss a moment of the action this season on Prize Picks. Make your picks on your favorite Green Bay Stars and ride with a pack all season long. I am 0 for 2 to begin with. I got the max discount one right, and that was the only one I got right. I got the other 2 wrong. Then I did the free one where you pick first guy to score whatever. I think we picked what? How many guys did we pick? 7, 8 guys, whatever. I think I got 3 of them right. So not off to a rousing start, but we'll be okay. We'll rebound. We'll do better.
Me and Jack went 4 for 4 on Mount Pixlor this week.
Ooh, good job. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, I didn't, you could cash in. Do the flex play. I didn't. I still would have lost. So I definitely think I should, which means you could still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. When we got on that roll in baseball season, it's because we were rolling with a flex play and we were killing it in baseball. Now we got to figure out the football part of it. Download the app today and use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineup after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. That'll do it for today's show. Back at it again tomorrow. Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports. We'll go inside the clubhouse, brought to you by Focus Baseball. Check out their fall mini camps going on right now by going to focusbaseball.com. Other side of the glass, Charlie Usen, thank you for coming in and doing the show with me again today. That'll do it. 6 o'clock, Tommy Wirtz, leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Have a good one. Toodles.